Hey, it's Tracy. I released like an AI video not too long ago about kind of going over like the implications of AI and how AI video especially is attempting to rewrite history, and you're going to see more of that, in the coming years, and how, the current generation, more or less, we weren't raised on that, so we can kind of decipher reality, I would say, a little better. It's even starting to blur now. But the new generation that's being born, like right now as we speak, all they're going to know is this AI slop, if you want to call it, this AI generated history, this alternate history. And I kind of went over how it's going, it's like possibly not going to be a good thing, and it's going to be an alternate reality for the brand new generation being born into today. They're not going to know a different reality. They're just not. And thankfully, I guess our generation, we do. We know a different reality. We know what real video footage looks like of these events, and not what altered footage looks like. As far as we know, man. As far as we know. But anyway, this article does not have any citations, or else I'd totally give the person that wrote it credit. It was written in 2014. It's on like historylearning.com. It's like a blog. And I'm going to start reading it for you. It's kind of interesting. Is history really written by the victors? So that's the title. So Winston Churchill once remarked, history is written by the victors. Or so we are led to believe. A German might have said it in 1941 before Mr. Churchill later claimed it as his own. It is one of the most commonly cited quotes pertaining to the academic discipline of history, used to illustrate that often history is highly subjective because the people, groups, or nations involved will mold accounts to their own ends. More specifically, the versions of history written by the victorious people, groups, or nations, the more powerful ones, will usually win out over others. Perhaps, though, it is never wise to disagree with an individual held in such high esteem by so many. This is not entirely true. Perhaps it is unrealistic and slightly lazy to suggest that the weaker, defeated people from the past are merely subjects of their conquerors, making without a voice of their own. If anything, to say history is written by the victors is to do a disservice to history itself. Naturally, there will be times when those in power suppress and silence opposition. They could use propaganda, censor material they don't like, or destroy entire civilizations and remove any traces that remain. However, to be a good historian is to dig deeper, to account for such actions, and come to a more fair and balanced conclusion. When we look back on significant historical events from the Roman Empire and medieval Vikings through to the European colonization of Africa and the 20th century's world wars, we have a broader understanding of exactly what happened and why it happened that goes beyond what the victors would say. By bringing together a multitude of sources and accounting for discrepancies, such as a nation consciously trying to write history in a certain way, we can arrive at fair conclusion. And that is the key. Victors might write one version of history, but a history student's job is to understand that it is just one account, and to then bring together with other sources to get an accurate picture of the past. I don't know. I just found that article fascinating after I was kind of releasing that AI video will rewrite history piece or whatever. But I found that fascinating, and I've always thought about this, even like I said before AI was implemented, because I've always pictured history as the history that stands out. I've always questioned why does that stand out? And obviously some of it stands out for a reason. It was like a big event. It was like life-changing event, right? But there's so many stories of history that are not told, and I believe a lot of them aren't told because they're just average, everyday people like you and me. Our stories are probably not going to be in a history book, unless we do something, I guess, really amazing with our lives that impact or change society. But that doesn't mean we're not important. I still think some of the stuff we do in our lives as everyday people is extremely important. Just doing nice things for people, right? And being a good person to society and just, I don't know, helping out when you can. And that, of course, is not going to be written in a history book. Sometimes, like, you know, it would be nice if it was, if those people were recognized. But I guess that's just like my very simple take on history, is putting the pieces together. Like, it does take the common person, right? It does take the common person that is also doing some of the heavy lifting to make history happen as well. You know, it just does. Like, it doesn't just happen with typically one person. There's always like a team involved. There's always people that are coming together, hopefully for the greater good, involved to write history and to make it relevant. But that's pretty much my thoughts. Very basic, very limited, and for a reason. I'm actually like not exactly a history buff, believe it or not. I think that I do have a couple of friends that are, and they've taught me a lot, but it's still fascinating for me. But if you have any like thoughts or comments, they would be so awesome if you could share them, because I would like to read them. Of like, what is like your perspective of how history is written, how it gets pieced together, and what is like a perspective, like what are they leaving out? Like what are these historians leaving out that are probably really, really, really important at the end of the day? But it's like, you can't write a book the size of a car or something, right? Like on a certain subject, which you probably can, but who's going to read it? So like, are they just, you know, are they leaving out important pieces on purpose because it's just not entertaining and nobody cares? I don't know. It's just some of the things I've thought about over the past years of my life. But please like and subscribe if you find this stuff interesting. If you find these topics interesting, I would really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.